Loving Sai Ram and greetings from Prashanti Nilayam. Today I shall begin with a story that has a profound meaning for all of us. It concerns a man named Damu Anna, a devotee of Shirdi Baba and a wealthy resident of Ahmednagar. During Ram Navami celebrations in Shirdi, two big banners are taken out. One of these is the contribution of Nana Sahib Nimonkar, while the other is from Damu Anna. Once, a friend of Damu Anna wrote from Bombay, "Let's do some business that would fetch us a profit of 2 lakh rupees." By the way, in those days, 2 lakhs or 200,000 rupees was a real fortune. So, what type of business was this man from Bombay proposing? These two people, the man from Bombay and Damu Anna, were to buy cotton when the prices were low and then sell them when the price soared, which was likely to. In short, it was trading in commodities. Damu was sorely tempted to accept the proposition. At the same time, he was scared to do anything without telling Baba and getting his consent. So, Damu wrote a letter to Madhavrao Deshpande, that is our friend Shama, asking him to inform Baba about the proposed deal and get Baba's approval as well as his blessings. Shama received the letter from Damu next day around 3 in the afternoon. He took the letter to the mosque and placed it at Baba's feet. Baba asked as if he did not know anything, "Hey Shama, what is this hustle and bustle all about? What is this piece of paper you are placing at my feet?" Shama respectfully replied, "Baba, this is a letter from Damu Anna of Ahmednagar. He wants to ask you something." Baba then said, "What is it that this man is writing? Is he not satisfied with what God has given him? Does he now want the sky?" Shama replied, "Baba, you please see the letter yourself. In fact, he actually wants far more than God has given him." Baba then ordered Shama to read out the letter, which Shama did. Baba listened quietly while Shama read out the letter. When Shama had finished, Baba said, "This man has gone crazy. Write to him and ask him what is lacking in his house. Tell him to be content with what he has got and not get tempted by wealth." Shama did just that, and when Damu Anna received Shama's reply, he was shattered. He was expecting a favorable reply, but this letter was applying the brakes. Damu told himself, "I was planning to do so much with the profit. Now all my dreams have been shattered. Maybe I should not have returned to Madhavrao and asked him to consult Baba. I know what I will do now. I will personally go to Shirdi and explain everything to Baba. He would understand and bless me." So saying, Damu Anna went to Shirdi. Arriving in Shirdi, Damu went to the mosque, fell at Baba's feet, and slowly started pressing the Lord's feet. After a while, he slowly said, "Baba, if only you would help me in this transaction, I shall place a part of the profits at your feet." Having said that, Damu sat quietly, waiting for Baba's response. Himmat Pant says, and I quote, "Devotees make plans, but they do not know their benefit. God alone knows the devotee's interest, future, past, and present. However much one may try to keep to oneself his secret wishes, Sai Samarth has intuitive knowledge of them all, as he dwells within everyone. When someone relates with love and trust his innermost wish at Sai's feet and asks his permission, reposing full faith in him, Sai always guides him to the right path." End of quote. Let us keep all this in mind and see what happened next. Baba told Damu, "I don't want any of your profits. I do not wish to be a party to your business. Leave me out." The message was loud and clear. Damu was shattered once more, but accepted Baba's verdict. He then had another idea and said to Baba, "Baba, can I trade in rice and wheat? Do I have your permission?" Baba smiled and replied, "Of course. What you do is, you buy rice at a price of 5 shares per rupee and sell it as 7 shares per rupee. That would please me very much. Damu Anna heard that and understood what Baba wanted of him. Lay off profiteering, it is not good for you. Damu, of course, felt sad, and it took some time for him to reconcile to all this. Meanwhile, he wrote to his friend in Bombay about what transpired back in Shirdi. The Bombay merchant shook his head and told himself, "This Baba is crazy. All fakirs are like that. They ask us not to do business, but they wander around doing nothing themselves. And when these parasites come to us, we are expected to feed them. Enough of this Baba for me. I shall go it alone." We don't hear again about this Bombay speculator, but this much we do know, that Damu remained faithful to Baba and even benefited by it. Listen now to that part of the story. Sometime after all the above happened, someone from Goa sent a big parcel of mangoes from Goa. These were not ordinary mangoes but the famous Alfonso mangoes. The consignment was addressed to Shama, but Shama knew that the mangoes were really meant for Baba. So he took the parcel to Baba and placed it at his feet. Baba asked as if he did not know, "What's all this?" Shama replied, "Baba, a devotee from Goa has sent this to you. There are 300 mangoes here." Baba replied, 300 mangoes for me? What will I do with them? You take it away." Shama knew that meant that the mangoes had to be distributed to the devotees as prasadam. How very much like what happens here in Parthi to this day. And as Shama was about to leave with the huge parcel, Baba said to him, "Oh, by the way, Shama, leave 4 mangoes in this pot here. They are for Damu Anna. When he comes, I shall give it to him. By the way, I have seen this sort of thing happening here. Swami would often call someone who is going away and bless that person with mangoes, apples, or whatever happens to be the fruit of the season." Soon, Damu Anna came to Shirdi and Baba gave him the 4 mangoes. Now this Damu had 2 wives but no children. He had propitiated all gods he knew but still no son. When Baba handed over the mangoes, Damu asked, "Baba, should I give these mangoes to the elder wife or to the younger one?" Baba said, "Give it to the younger one. She will get 8 children, 4 boys and 4 girls." Damu had been told by astrologers that he would never have any progeny, but now Baba's words gave him hope. And soon he found that Baba's words actually came true. Many imagine that devotion to God means performing rituals meticulously, etc. Few realize that rituals are intended mainly as a mental discipline, meant to lead to and enhance love for God and deepen faith in God. Here's a story that gives some idea of what faith means. It is the story of one Harishchandra Pitale. This Pitale, thanks to the merit earned in previous births, learnt about Shirdi Baba through the stories of Baba narrated with devotion in musical form by Das Gano. Here it is necessary to acknowledge the enormous service rendered by Das Gano, who went round like a wandering minstrel singing the glory of Baba and comparing Shirdi to the holy city of Pandharpur, where devotees of Krishna flocked to worship the idol there. Pitale heard about Baba's glory and decided to make a pilgrimage to Shirdi with his family. An important reason for wanting to go to Shirdi was that Pitale's son suffered from epilepsy and used to get terrible fits often. Pitale hoped that Baba's grace would cure his son once and for all. So Pitale went to Shirdi with his wife and son, prostrated before Baba, offering fruits, flowers, etc. And then something happened that Pitale was not prepared for. When the afflicted boy saw Baba, his eyes began to rotate and he fell down unconscious, foaming profusely at the mouth. It looked as if life was going to ebb away from the poor suffering boy. Pitale and his wife became extremely distraught. They began to have grave doubts about Baba, wondering why on earth did they come to Shirdi. As Hemat Pant describes it, for them it was like a cow escaping from a tiger only to encounter a butcher. At this stage, Baba intervened and said softly, "Take the boy to your place. In another half an hour or so, everything would be all right. Do not be impatient or do anything needlessly. Pitale and his wife did exactly as Baba asked them to, and to their great amazement and joy, the boy revived. The husband and wife then returned to the mosque and prostrated at Baba's feet with deep reverence and heartfelt gratitude. Baba then asked them with a smile, "Have your doubts gone now?" He who reposes full faith in God and is patient would never be forsaken. Pitale was now in good spirit. Being a man of some means, he celebrated the occasion befittingly by offering fruits and flowers at Baba's feet and distributing sweets to all. Thereafter, the couple religiously came to the mosque every day for darshan and for expressing their immense gratitude. Soon, the time came for them to leave, and as they took leave of Baba, he gave them udi, which was to be expected. And then Baba did something they did not expect. Calling Pitale to come close to him, Baba took out 3 rupees and gave them to Pitale, saying, "Here are 3 rupees. I have already given you 2 rupees earlier. Keep this carefully and do puja regularly. It would benefit you immensely." Pitale received the 3 rupees that Baba gave him, but a doubt crossed his mind. "This is the first time I have come to Shirdi and I am seeing Baba. I have never seen him before. How then could he have given me 2 rupees earlier?" Being omniscient and the indweller of all, Baba of course knew what Pitale was thinking, but did not do or say anything to clear the doubt. So Pitale left Shirdi carrying with him his doubts. When Pitale returned home, his old mother asked him about all that happened in Shirdi, and Pitale, the dutiful son he was, narrated everything in detail, including Baba giving him 3 rupees, telling him that 2 rupees had already been given earlier. His mother then said, "Son, just as you took your son to Shirdi, many years ago your father took you to Akkalkot. Pleased with the worship your father offered at the feet of Akkalkot Maharaj, that saint gave your father 2 rupees for him to worship. Your good father did exactly that, but after him, worship came to be neglected. As a result, all the articles used for puja became playthings for the children. In the process, the 2 rupees that your father meticulously worshipped also got lost. However, by your good fortune, that same Akkalkot Maharaj has appeared to you as Shirdi Baba to put you on the right track. He has given you these 3 rupees so that you might regularly worship them even as your father did, and in this manner ward off all the evil that might otherwise befall your family." As Pitale heard his mother recall a forgotten tale, his heart was filled with joy. Right there he resolved to atone for earlier lapses in worship by being regular and most sincere this time. People may suffer, but if they have faith in his own way, the Lord comes to their rescue. Listen now to the story of one Gopal Narayan Amdekar of Pune, who was saved when he was about to destroy himself. This man Amdekar worked for the British government in the excise department. He served as an officer, but after 10 years became jobless. After that, trouble followed him like a shadow. There were many calamities and the domestic scene became unbearable. 7 years rolled by with no let-up in the difficulties. Every year, Amdekar would go to Shirdi, fall at Baba's feet and pour out his troubles. But the situation did not improve. If anything, it became worse. The year was 1916. Amdekar had gone to Shirdi like in earlier years. He had spent 2 months and things were no better. One night he was alone, sitting in a bullock cart parked near Dikshitwada, reflecting on his fate. He told himself, "Enough is enough. My cup of misery is overflowing and I cannot take it anymore. Tonight, when no one is watching, I shall jump into the well and put an end to my misery." Amdekar knew that to take one's life is a great sin, but such was the magnitude of his pain that he was ready even for this extreme. Baba, the indweller of all, of course knew every word of what Amdekar was thinking, and when the moment came, He set the wheels in motion in his own subtle way. Now, near the spot where Ambedkar was making his plans to end his life, there was a small eating house belonging to a Baba devotee named Sagun Meru Naik. Even as Ambedkar was figuring out all the details of jumping into the well, this Sagun Naik spotted a man nearby and walked over to him. Sagun then said to this man, who was actually Ambedkar, "Have you ever read this volume by Akkalkot Maharaj?" So saying, Sagun handed to Ambedkar a book. Ambedkar was momentarily distracted from his thoughts and taking the book in his hand began to flip through it. Thanks to Baba's master plan, Ambedkar, after turning the pages somewhat casually, began to read from somewhere in the middle. There was a story there that gripped Ambedkar and he now began to read with great interest. That story goes like this. In the mandir of Akkalkot Maharaj, there was a devotee who was suffering intense pain due to a disease. Unable to bear the pain any longer, this devotee one night went to a well and jumped into it with the intention of putting an end to his life. At that juncture, Akkalkot Maharaj appeared there, rescued the man and said to him, "My dear fellow, whatever suffering fate has ordained for us has to be borne patiently. Unless we suffer the consequences of our previous karma, in whatever form it appears, be it as pain, leprosy or disease, it has to be borne fully. You might commit suicide now, but do you think your karmic debt would be wiped off by that? No. You would have to take another birth and suffer the pain till the debt is wiped out. Therefore, do not attempt suicide, but try to ride the difficulty." You can imagine how Ambedkar felt when he read this story. There he was making plans to end his life by jumping into a well, exactly as the man in the story tried to do. And here was someone coming in the very last minute with a story so relevant to him. Ambedkar then went through a range of emotions. On the one hand, he was stunned and amazed, while on the other, he was ashamed of himself. He realized it was a voice from heaven, a Leela of Baba. Ambedkar also realized that his father had been a devotee of Akkalkot Maharaj and felt that his father's prayers probably made all this happen through Baba. Having resolved not to end his life, Ambedkar decided to face problems bravely. Baba gave him the strength and soon his problems actually vanished. Innumerable are such stories of how the Lord always comes to the rescue, sometimes at the very last minute. However, for that to happen, unconditional faith and constant remembrance of the Lord are very necessary. God is the ultimate doctor, not only in terms of curing incurable diseases, as I have already described. He is, in addition, also the ultimate spiritual doctor, giving devotees, each according to his nature, guidance as needed. However, to the uninitiated observer, the ways of God in human form often seem mysterious. In Shirdi, devotees often brought with them sacred texts that they wanted to read regularly as a part of their spiritual discipline or sadhana. Coming to Baba's presence, they would hold the book in their hand and place it in Baba's hands. The idea behind this offering is to first get the book blessed by Baba and then receive it from him as his blessing. This way, devotees felt that the book would be specially sanctified, fetching them extra merit when they read it. When devotees held out various sacred books to Baba, he received them no doubt, but instead of giving it back to them after blessing, he would instead give it to Shama, saying, "Oh Shama, you keep this in your house and preserve this book carefully." This is what happened most of the time, and was a puzzle to all who witnessed the scene. As for the people who offered the book expecting to get it back with blessings, they were both disappointed and confused. Anyway, this was the way it usually was. One day there came to Shirdi a great devotee of Rama, known as Ramadasi Bua. He would get up early in the morning, go through the ablutions, bath, etc., smear sacred ash on his forehead, and sit down for the ceremonial worship of the Lord. It would commence with a chant of Vishnu Sahasranamam, the 1,000 names of Lord Vishnu. After this man Bua would read the Ramayana. One day, when the Ramadasi was engaged in worship, Baba called him and said, "Listen, I am having shooting pains in my stomach. Go and get some medicine immediately, or else my intestines would break." The Ramadasi immediately sped in search of the medicine he was supposed to bring. As soon as the Ramadasi went out, Baba got up from his seat and went to the spot where Ramadasi was doing his worship. Baba then bent down and picked the Vishnu Sahasranama book. Returning to his seat, Baba called Shama to his side and said, "Shama, this is a very sacred book. If you read it, it would be very beneficial to you. Take this book home and read it every day. Read carefully, contemplating on the meaning of every word." One would have thought that Shama would have felt highly blessed to receive such a book straight from Baba's hand. But that was not so, because Shama, being a very practical person, immediately saw a problem. He said, "Baba, this book belongs to that Ramadasi. He is a very possessive person and also a hot-tempered fellow. If he comes to know that I have his book, then hell would break loose. Why invite trouble? Moreover, this book is in Sanskrit, and as you are aware, I do not know Sanskrit. So, if you don't mind, I would prefer not to take this book." The divine acts in ways that are often beyond the comprehension of ordinary mortals. Here was Shama thinking that Baba wanted to spark off a quarrel between him and the volatile Ramadasi. On the other hand, Baba's intention was something totally different. Explaining his motive, Baba said, and here I had better quote Hemant Pant, quote, "Maybe my Shama is quite crazy, but I have a fond attachment for him. He has inspired a strange affection in my heart, and hence my deep loving concern for him. With my own hands will I tie this garland of Vishnu Sahasranama around his neck, and it will liberate him from worldly sorrows and cares. I shall create in him a fondness for chanting the name of the Lord. The name of the Lord can smash mountains of sins. It can sever the bondage of the body. It can eradicate and destroy millions of evil passions. The name of the Lord can break the neck of death itself and liberate one from birth-death cycle. Such is the greatness of Vishnu Sahasranama. The name, when chanted with a conscious effort, is indeed excellent. Chanted without a conscious effort, it is not bad either. Even if it comes from the lips unexpectedly, it will reveal its power. There is no better means than the name to purify the heart. It is the adornment of the tongue. The name of the Lord nourishes spiritual life. To take the name, a bath is not necessary. The name has no precepts, no rules laid down by the scriptures. By taking the name, all sins are destroyed. Name is sacred always. A ceaseless chanting of my name will also take you across safely. You need practice no other means. With it, you can attain liberation." End of quote. Well, what more do we want to tell us and confirm to us that there is nothing greater than chanting the name constantly? All this has been reiterated many times by Swami also. By the way, I wonder whether you notice that along the lines, Baba makes a reference to my name. This is one of the occasional indications he gives that he is indeed the Lord. This quote convinced Shama that Baba's intention in giving him the Ramadasi's book was not to promote a quarrel, but something very different and also noble. However, there was a character named Anna who was a witness to what was going on. And being a regular troublemaker, he decided to seize the opportunity to foment an argument between Shama and the Ramadasi. Thus, when the Ramadasi came back to the mosque, Anna promptly went to this Ramadasi and told him that while he was away, Shama took possession of his book. The Ramadasi, by nature a quarrelsome man, instantly flared up. Going to Shama, he started pouring accusations and abuse on the poor man. At first, Shama tried his best to pacify the Ramadasi, but the latter refused to cool down. Shama then became aggressive himself and said, "Stop being petty and mean, and do not be disrespectful to Baba. You are unnecessarily making a big fuss as though this book is very expensive like diamonds and gems. Shame on you." At this point, Baba himself started admonishing the Ramadasi. He said, "Why are you making such a fuss? After all, I have not given your book to some stranger. I have given it only to this Shama, who is one of us. And so where is the need for all this quarrel? And by the way, you read all these holy books all the time, and yet you do not know how to speak softly and sweetly. What then is the use of reading these books? You might as well not have them. You call yourself a servant of Rama. What kind of a servant are you to the Lord? Is this the type of servant the Lord would like to have? A true servant of the Lord ought not to have any desires and must treat gold and dust alike. But look at the attachment you have for this little book and how ready you are to quarrel over it. Are you not ashamed? Let me tell you something more. Shama here did not take your book. I myself picked it up and gave it to him." The message went home, and in his heart Ramdasi realized his folly. But his worldly outlook made him seek some avenue for saving his face, and he said to Shama, "Listen, you have a book, the Gita, and I am going to take it in exchange." Happy to see that some kind of a settlement was in sight, Shama said with great magnanimity, "I will give you not 1 but 10 copies of the Gita if you want." After this, the Ramadasi cooled down, but Hemant Pant asked, why did he want the Gita when he did not recognize the Lord of the Gita? I want to end this talk by narrating a small incident that happened in Vrindavan many decades ago. In those days, the Trai that we are all familiar with did not exist. Instead, there was an old bungalow, wonderful in its own way. One day, Swami was seated with 2 devotees when there came a very pious scholar who expressed a desire to read from old scrolls that had predicted the advent of the Sri Sathya Sai avatar. Swami most graciously allowed the scholar to read from the scrolls, and he went on for more than an hour. All along, the scholar was citing evidence after evidence to reiterate that Swami was verily God in human form. Seeing that the man was feeling a bit exhausted, Swami gave a barely perceptible signal to one of his staff to bring some milk. Soon this milk was brought in a silver tumbler. Taking the tumbler in his hand, Swami most kindly told the scholar, "You have been speaking non-stop for over an hour. Here, take this milk and drink it. It would be very soothing to your parched throat." The man thanked Swami profusely and said, "Swami, today is Ekadasi, and on this day I always fast. I do not even touch water. So I request that I be excused from drinking this milk." Swami kindly replied, "Don't worry, I shall not insist on your breaking your vow." After this, Swami gave this man plenty of gifts that included silk dhotis for the scholar, an expensive sari for his wife, and also a lot of cash in the traditional style. Not merely that, Swami summoned a driver and asked the driver to drop this scholar back in his residence. After the man left, Swami smiled and told the devotees who were with him, "Look at this man. All the time he was here, he kept on telling me that I was God. And yet, when I offered him milk, he excused himself, saying he was observing a vow. Now, why does one observe vows? To reach the Lord. If he was with me and I was the Lord, then where was the need to keep on observing the vow?" Saying this, Baba gently laughed. Those with him got a profound lesson. I have seen similar things happen many times. People would swear to Swami that he was God, and yet they would sometimes hesitate to do what he asks of them. This was the way it often was in Shirdi also. As Krishna says, God may stand right in front of man, but thanks to his self-generated Maya or illusion, he is not able to see that the one before him is actually God. No amount of book reading is of any value if one does not make a serious attempt to see God, especially when he is standing right in front. Thank you for listening, and Jai Sai Ram.
शिर्डी माझे पंढरपूर साई बाबा रमावर, बाबा रमावर, साई बाबा रमावर. भाव पुंडलिक जागा, पुंडलिक जागा, भाव पुंडलिक जागा. याहो याहो अवघे जन, करू बाबासी वंदन, साईसी वंदन, करू बाबासी वंदन. गणू म्हणे बाबा साई, भाव भाव मा